There is a story in the world of climbing and mountaineering that stands out above all the rest. A tale of love and loss. A story which once heard lodges itself in the furrows of your mind. It is a story that informs who we are, how we behave, and what we believe about life, death, and everything in between. It's the story of Alex Lowe, Conrad Anker, and Jenny Lowe-Anker, the woman who would love them both. Alex Lowe was, in 1999, among the most highly regarded climbers in the world. His mark upon the climbing world was made in permanent ink. Everest, Gasherbrum 4, Great Trengel Tower, Annapurna, Antarctica, Baffin. He was, as his fellow climbers called him, just really that much better than everyone else. What made Lowe a cut above the rest was his discipline and commitment to all styles of climbing. From rock climbing to ice and mixed climbing to snow trudging and alpine skiing. His was the fullest repertoire of any climber of his generation. His physical prowess earned him nicknames such as the Mutant. He was also a father, a husband, and a deep thinker who is still often quoted today. If Alex Lowe was the king of climbing, then Conrad Anker was surely the heir apparent. Like Lowe, Anker was widely renowned for the breadth of his skill set. Few others before or since have possessed the diversity of talents necessary to establish new routes on features as markedly different as Ladakh 2 in the Pakistani Karakoram. Lowe and Anker were teammates on the North Face squad, so it was fated that they should eventually climb together. It wasn't fated that they should become close friends. They could as easily have been competitors or enemies, as two different athletes at the top of their field often are. But what developed between them over the course of 7 expeditions together, often sharing the tent through inclement weather, was not just mutual respect or a casual acquaintanceship, but something deeper. Anker and Lowe, by 1999, had become best friends. Alex Lowe and Conrad Anker thought they would never be separated until an avalanche buried them, and only one of the pair emerged alive. On October 5, 1999, Lowe and Anker, along with 7 other climbers, embarked on an expedition to climb Tibet's 8,000-meter Shishapangma, and then became the first Americans to successfully descend the peak by skis. That day, they split into 2 teams as they searched for a route up the mountain. Lowe's group, Lowe, Anker, and Bridges, were crossing a flat glacier when a large serac broke loose 6,000 feet above and tumbled downhill. The 500-foot wide avalanche swept over the 3 men. Anker was thrown 100 feet by the wind blast and suffered 2 broken ribs and dislocated shoulder, but emerged from the snow and led a 20-hour rescue attempt in the large debris field measuring up to 20 feet deep. We cannot begin to comprehend what thoughts passed through Lowe's mind as oxygen slowly ran out, or what Anker may have experienced in the days to follow as the rescue team searched everywhere for signs of his best friend and the cameraman Bridges. Battered and bloodied, Conrad, the sole survivor, had to telephone Alex's wife to tell her that her husband was not coming home. What made that call even tougher was the knowledge that Alex had wanted to take his 3 young sons to Disneyland rather than completing the expedition to promote an outdoor clothing firm. Suffering from survivor's guilt, Conrad wondered what he could do for Alex. The climber not only took the grieving boys to the theme park, but he also became a shoulder for Alex's wife, Jenny, to cry on. Conrad was engaged to a fellow climber at the time of Alex's death. His decision to step into his dead friend's place led to a lot of bitterness among mountain climbers, so much so that the couple received hate mail. And while Jenny's 2 youngest sons, Isaac and Sam, wanted Conrad to become their dad, her eldest found it hard to accept. Max, who was 10 at the time, says, "When Alex was killed, my trust was broken. I always trusted that he would come home, and when he died that day, I understood death, and I was also still a kid. 2 years later, in 2001, Conrad would eventually go on to marry Alex's widow, Jenny, and become dad to his 3 sons, Isaac, Max, and Sam. But while Conrad escaped with his life, he also went on to step into a dead man's shoes, marrying Alex's widow and becoming a dad to his 3 kids, to the horror of those in the mountaineering community. Of course, none of this is any of our business. Only Anker and Lowe-Anker have the faintest clue, in the wake of unspeakable tragedy, how best to pick up the pieces and continue to live the way their beloved friend and husband would have wanted them to. Because in the end, what other option is there? Difficult though their story may be, the alternative, to remain alone in the cold and the darkness, is utterly unimaginable. On 27th April 2016, 2 mountain climbers, David Getterler and the late Willie Steck, found Alex Lowe's remains as they scouted out a new line to climb on Shishapangma. Almost 17 years later, they came across the remains of the 2 climbers, which emerged from the glacier. The family flew out to Tibet to be there when the bodies were carried down on stretchers. Due to the freezing temperatures, the remains had not decomposed 17 years on. Jenny decided she needed to take one last look at her dead husband, who had his wedding ring pressed against his heart. This is mountaineering also. A sad, great story, but one that teaches us that nothing is lost. Everything revolves around us sooner or later.